What's up, chat? In today's video, we're gonna be reading some pretty awesome suggestions in the Anime Vanguards Discord. Now, if you already know the Anime Vanguard Discord suggestion, then you already probably know that this is gonna be a pretty funny video. Now, this is just a fun fact, but Eizen is absolutely broken when it comes to stealing your MVP, to the point that some people actually call this guy Mr. Steal Your MVP, because Eizen, if you put him like near the base or where the enemies come out, he will absolutely steal your MVP. Now, little fun fact here, I was streaming once, and I think this was before the update 4.5 stage. I had Monarch Songjinu Vanguard and Monarch Gojira, and this little other guy that I was playing with from chat had Deadeye Eizen, and he was able to out DPS both my Monarch Gojira, Monarch Gojo, and Monarch Songjin Vanguard by just placing his Deadeye Eizens near the base. So Eizen's absolutely overpowered, but again, I don't think it's deserving of a nerf because that's literally his whole point. Then this one right here is actually pretty interesting. Work on unit idle poses. It matters. And it's basically showing Sid right here standing, and then Umbra Nuclear from AnimeDefenders. And then this guy right here said, I don't even mind delaying this update. It's so ass. The animator was being a lazy bum to the point the owner stepped in. Someone fired them bums. We're not going back to that route. So I do think that the discussion for unit idle is kind of fair because there's a lot of units actually that has a pretty bad idle. Like let's say for example Eizen doesn't have an idle. He could have had this idle. Gojira had a very terrible idle. I think even Godokuri has a terrible idle. I think literally a lot of these units have really bad idols. As you guys can see right here, he has an example of how some of these idols are just absolutely terrible. And then this guy right here absolutely cooked. Maybe he wants to get a job in Anime Vanguards. He made his own trailer, or he made his own idol for Delta apparently, and I can't load it right now because my internet's being trash, but yeah, you get the point. Honestly, I think this is actually pretty fair. A lot of the idols in Anime Vanguard is quite lackluster, so maybe getting better idols would definitely improve the game a lot. Specifically for the more rarer and highly anticipated units, that would be really nice. This guy right here had a suggestion of trait extraction with Katakuri as an NPC, and his suggestion is removing Monarch gives back. Okay, I'm gonna stop right here and ask this creator, or this guy right here, Jablonski Jekluj, what really is going to be the purpose of this feature? I mean, removing Solar gives back 3 RRs. 3 RRs, you could basically get that in a single 30-minute challenge. There's almost really no point in adding a feature like this because first of all, who's going to remove Monarchs, or who's going to remove Ethereals for 10 rerolls, right? So it might be a pretty interesting idea, but honestly, I think it's pretty redundant since it's not really that much of a need. But regardless, what do you guys think of this one? I think it's pretty cool, but probably not that much of a need for it. This one right here is Bounties quality of life feature. Basically, the user asking, Bounties is one of the best way to get RRs, but do you even bother doing them every day since Bounties take 1 hour of your day for 10 rerolls to end up with range 1 Yamamoto? And basically, his suggestion is, how about instead of doing 10 Bounties, you can do 1 bounty that is 15 to 20 times harder, and then that bounty will give you like a ton of rerolls. Basically, that single bounty will give you all the rerolls that you would have gotten for the normal bounties. But I actually had a talk with the developers about something like this, or I saw them say something, and basically their response was, Bounties is supposed to be a time consumer, so I don't think it's going to be pretty nice, or I don't think this is ever going to get added. It could be, maybe if you bring it up in stage, but chances are it's never going to get added. Now, for the best one so far that I have seen, this one right here is hover to see total cost until certain upgrade. And basically what this does is if you hover over a certain upgrade, it will show you how much coins it will take to get there, or yen. So if you hover over upgrade 6, it will show you 17,600 to get to upgrade 6. This one is absolutely amazing. This one should probably get added, if I'm being honest. I'll probably even recommend it next stage because of how awesome it is, and this is actually pretty nice. Now, I know it's probably not gonna be used that much, but literally everything in the game, a lot of the quality of life features that are in the game right now doesn't really get used that much, but adding them does make life, you know, much better in Anime Vanguard. So I think this is a pretty neat feature that should get added, and I'll probably recommend it even next stage. That's how good it is. This one is a pretty funny one, but this one's something I really want to talk about. Gogeta needs to be deleted from bot accounts. Gogeta is meant to be a rare Vanguard unit with a 1 out of 200 or 20,000 chance to be acquired, but nowadays it's not that rare to find because of bots flooding the game and just use AFK chamber to farm present and get Gogeta at level 1, which drastically reduces this unit's specialness and rarity, and once the devs add trading, his value wouldn't even be comparable to other Vanguards because there are significantly more copies of that unit. My solution: delete all Gogetas from players below level 20, make it so that Vanguard units can only be obtained by level 20 plus players. Now, this is something, this part right here is something that I already recommended, I believe, on update 3 stage. This is a pretty good suggestion, making Vanguard units only obtainable by level 20 plus players, because most people can easily get a Vanguard just by simply AFKing, right? Pretty much 80% of the people playing this game got their Gogeta from AFK. Okay, I myself got my Gogeta from AFK, and I believe that thousands of bot accounts know that, and thousands of bot accounts are probably also getting Gogeta from the AFK chamber, right? So I think make it significantly harder for those bot accounts to get Gogeta. Make them farm each of their bot accounts to level 20, and at that point, once they've farmed that bot account to level 20, they might as well be actual players. Nah, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think this is a pretty bad suggestion simply because a lot of players get lucky and get Gogeta early on. And it's also pretty nice that these Vanguard units aren't that rare, because Vanguard units being, you know, something that only the top 1% of players have is also kind of bad. But I do agree with the fact that making Vanguard units only be obtainable by level 20 plus players is a pretty great suggestion, honestly. Last one but not the least, double cosmetic options. There's times where you just want to cosplay some specific character for fun, you just want to look cooler and use the cosmetic in-game for it. But of course, you can only use one model, one animation, and one effect at a time, which complicates the recreation of the character that perfectly fits you. So he has an example right here of Dante and then Alucard, and basically using Dante's model for the jacket and then Alucard for the guns. Now this might be complicated because if you're gonna have, you know, model plus model, then how is the game gonna know which model, like which jacket you want to fit or which sword you want to have? It is going to be very complicated. But if they actually manage to make this work, right, if they actually manage to make double cosmetic an option, or double cosmetic a thing in Anime Vanguards, and I can actually make Dante in the game, that would just be very nice, honestly. Now this might be very difficult and might be a little bit too much work, but I actually really like this idea. I actually have pretty cool cosmetic options with something like this if it ever does happen. Now with that being said, this game is pretty nice. There's a lot of talented individuals with a lot of talented minds and whatnot, and I do think that Anime Vanguards is a pretty great game with a pretty great community. So the suggestions, a lot of them were pretty good, some of them were pretty crazy, but comment down below which one of these suggestions you actually liked, and put your suggestions in the suggestion tab in the Anime Vanguard Discord, and you might get covered for the next video that I do. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one.